October 12, 2025. In Kursk, Russia signs a secret, silent agreement with Japan over weapons capable of obliterating an entire city. From orbit, an American Maxar satellite slices through the haze and spots 21 Russian military trucks, marked MHJ-125. Inside, uranium ore, MOX fuel, uranium dioxide, and traces of plutonium, enough fissile material to assemble 25 tactical warheads. The revelation hits like a cold thunderclap. Japan, America's strategic partner in the Pacific, has quietly traded trust for profit, becoming a link in Moscow's covert supply chain. The news reaches Kyiv with no fanfare, no press conference, no speeches, just a terse order: activate Operation Intercept. The plan is set in motion immediately. Dozens of FPV kamikaze drones are pulled from hidden hangars, and 300 special operators lie motionless in the roadside brush, ready to receive the action command as the convoy slowly makes its way to the depot. Can the Russian convoy withstand a swarm engineered to kill? Or will Moscow manage to complete a weapon powerful enough to change the face of the war? I'll tell you the truth. October 12th, 2025, 4:30 a.m. Above the clouds, a Maxar Technologies satellite silently scanned Eastern Europe, its infrared sensors capturing something it should never have seen: 21 Russian military trucks rolling in single file through the fog near the Kursk-Kharkov border, 25 miles from Ukraine. At first glance, they looked like a regular convoy, but the data told a different story. Inside those Urals and Kamaz were 195 Russian soldiers, artillery shells, diesel fuel, encrypted radios, and something far more dangerous: uranium ore, MOX fuel, uranium dioxide, and low-enriched plutonium compounds. The cargo's commercial paperwork listed a series of shell companies linked to a Japanese supplier. Bill of sale: $2.4 billion in trade with Russia. Potential market value of finished warheads: unquantifiable. The alliance world fell silent for a moment. Japan, a longtime U.S. partner, was now at the center of a secret supply chain that fed Moscow's most dangerous ambitions. The nuclear fuel supply to Russia alone was estimated at 120 tons. This was not smuggling, it was state-level trade disguised as cargo. Satellite data was relayed to the U.S. Command Center at Ramstein, then relayed via encrypted channels to the Kyiv Defense Department. Within minutes, Ukraine's National Security Council had convened an emergency session. The convoy was headed for a secret Russian weapons complex deep in a densely forested mountain range outside Kursk, a site long rumored to be a site for tactical missile corps production. If those materials made it to their destination, Russian engineers could assemble a new short-range nuclear system capable of wiping out an entire district of Kyiv in a single strike. There was no time for debate. The order was given immediately. 2 Mavic 3 reconnaissance drones from Ukraine's 14th UAV Regiment were launched to close in on the target. In the darkness, their lenses scanned for heat signatures through the fog and jungle. Each Kamaz vehicle was marked MHJ-125, identifying it as a secret nuclear shipment. By 4:47 a.m., satellites, drones, and analysts in Kyiv had all come to the same conclusion. This was no ordinary logistics shipment. It was the lifeblood of a secret weapons program, and if it were cut off now, it could cripple Russia's most secretive plans. Ukraine's response will be not just verbal, but also precise, silent, and firepower. 4:45 a.m. Along the frost-covered tree line of Highway E38, silence fell on the ground. Ukraine's 225th Charlie Brigade, 300 men, had been in position since before dawn, scattered like shadows through the pine forest. They had no campfires, no radios, no voices. Every heartbeat mattered. Above, the fog was filled with the faint hum of 2 Mavic 3 reconnaissance drones flying 300 meters. The screens in Kyiv's command bunker showed 21 bright heat signatures filtering through the fog. Each was tagged, numbered, and locked on. A single strike could change the course of the battle. The soldiers on the ground waited under camouflage netting, drenched in dew. Each team of 5 formed an L-shaped formation surrounding the kill zone. Each squad carried an RPG-27 grenade launcher, 2 long-range rifles, 12 fragmentation grenades, and a laser marker that connected to HIMARS launchers deployed 18 miles west. The coordination network operated over an encrypted jam-proof L-band frequency, a silent digital network that stretched across the border. At 5:32 a.m., Mavic telemetry data confirmed the convoy's speed, 38 miles per hour, distance to the ambush, 4.2 miles. In the fog and darkness, the trucks were laden with more than $2.4 billion worth of uranium, enough fissile material to power 25 warheads or wipe out a city of 3 million. The scale of the operation turned a raid into a rescue mission for Kyiv itself. Inside the command bunker, the atmosphere was tense and oppressive. Data analysts cross-checked radio traffic from Russian supply channels, confirming the shipment code, MHJ125. It matched the same pattern seen in Japanese refinery records. The connection was now undeniable. Outside, the forest faded from black to gray. The first rays of dawn touched the mist. Through the Mavic's optics, the lead Ural appeared, a faint Russian shape radiating heat. Target convoy confirmed. A whisper echoed through the encrypted network. At 6:10 a.m., the order from Kyiv's defense ministry to activate Operation Intercept. Keep your distance from the Phantom. Cease fire until it is completely exposed. No one breathes. The convoy is heading straight for the trap. Can 300 Ukrainian soldiers and a swarm of drones stop a convoy carrying the power of 25 nuclear warheads? 6:13 a.m. A static hiss cut through the control signal transmission. The Mavic 3 reconnaissance drone suddenly flashed a red light on its telemetry system. Severe interference detected. The signal strength dropped by 80% in 2 seconds. The operators inside the Kyiv command center froze. The source was immediately detected. A Lear 3 electronic warfare system mounted on a Kamaz command truck, operating in the 2.4 to 4 gigahertz frequency range, the same frequency as the Ukrainian drone. The Russians had realized they were being pursued. The warning system kicked in. A distant vibration arose. The rotor blades of a Mi-8AMTSH helicopter from the Sudzha base were hurtling toward them at 170 knots. It fired a salvo of tracer rounds into the sky. A locked Mavic that didn't have time to dodge exploded into a streak of orange light, hurtling through the mist. The second narrowly avoided the target, switching to IMU guidance and diving lower to avoid radar. In the shelter in Kyiv, Army Commander-in-Chief Alexander Syrskyi gave the order, neutralize the airborne threat. Now 2 HIMARS missiles roared off the rails 29 kilometers to the west, tearing through the gray sky at Mach 2.5. The first missed the track by just 9 meters. The second didn't. The Mi-8 disappeared in midair, shattered by a 40-kilogram fragmentation warhead. The radar feed went black. The Russians below were oblivious. 6:17 a.m. The code transmitted over the encrypted L-band. Dark Gate. Execute 25 kamikaze FPV drones from the 413th Assault Battalion emerged from cover, climbing 150 feet before descending on the convoy at 90 miles per hour. Each drone carried a 6-petabyte explosive that could penetrate 5 inches of armor and detonate at 4,500 degrees Fahrenheit, 2,100 degrees Celsius. The first drone hit the lead Ural truck, puncturing the hood and igniting the diesel fuel tank. A 40-foot column of fire tore through the fog. The shockwave shattered the windows of 3 vehicles. Seconds later, the second drone slammed into a Kamaz fuel tanker. 1,900 gallons of diesel fuel erupted like napalm, engulfing the road in flames. Russian soldiers staggered out of the trucks behind them, some already on fire. Gunfire erupted everywhere. AKS exploded into smoke and chaos. But it didn't matter. A third drone slammed into the command vehicle, hitting the antenna platform. The convoy's communication system was instantly paralyzed. 2 more drones crashed into ammunition crates, causing secondary explosions. The sound echoed for miles. At 6:23 a.m., Ukrainian Special Forces opened fire. RPG-27s, sniper rifles, grenades raining down. All escape routes collapsed. In less than 13 minutes, 21 vehicles were destroyed or disabled. 195 Russian soldiers were killed or wounded. The fog had turned to fire, and the secret of the agreement between Japan and Moscow was burning with them. Before you see what happened next, Take a second to follow this channel. The truth behind this explosion is only just beginning to unfold. 6:31 a.m. The firestorm still raged across Highway E38, turning the dawn sky blood red. The once orderly convoy was now a chain of burning skeletons. 21 armored trucks lay twisted and unrecognizable, their steel frames warped from heat exceeding 4,000 degrees Fahrenheit. The explosion radius stretched over 1,200 feet, scattering debris, rifle fragments, and pieces of molten armor across the forest floor. From the drone feed above, analysts counted 195 Russian soldiers, none still moving. Some vehicles had fused together. The uranium containers melted into gray slag, releasing radiation levels 40 times above baseline. Within minutes, Ukrainian CBRN teams sealed the area in lead-lined suits. By 7 a.m., the battlefield was silent except for the slow crackle of burning fuel. The convoy's manifest, recovered half-charred from a Kamaz driver's seat, confirmed the code MHJ125. It matched the shipment from Shikoku Energy Refinery, Japan, valued at $2.4 billion. The world now had proof. Japan's government, through industrial proxies, had secretly supplied nuclear materials to Moscow in violation of international treaties. The news detonated faster than any missile. Within 4 hours, encrypted images and heat signature data from Maxar Technologies appeared on secure Pentagon networks and NATO briefings. By noon, international outlets had broken the headline: Japan-Russia nuclear fuel deal exposed. Convoy destroyed in Ukraine strike. Financial markets reacted instantly. The Tokyo Stock Exchange plunged 2,300 points in a single session. Energy conglomerate shares collapsed by 37%. Moscow's defense ministry issued a furious denial, but the wreckage spoke louder than propaganda. Satellite photos showed blackened trucks still smoldering beside the charred forest. Radiation warnings extended 6 square miles around the kill zone. The estimated financial loss for Russia exceeded $1.7 billion, not counting the strategic disaster. That morning, Japan's prime minister was forced into an emergency address, pledging an inquiry into industrial misconduct. But the damage was irreversible. Ukraine's precision had not only obliterated a convoy, it had shattered an alliance of deceit. For the first time in decades, the world saw how one 13-minute ambush rewrote the balance of nuclear power. In the days that followed the ambush, silence replaced fire. The wreckage along Highway E38 was cordoned off by radiation barriers and guarded around the clock by Ukraine's Defense Chemical Corps. Geiger counters clicked endlessly, levels still 27 times higher than normal even 3 days later. Specialized teams in lead suits retrieved fragments of uranium ore and scorched MOX fuel from the soil. What had been a secret nuclear artery was now a radioactive scar visible from space. The intelligence fallout was just as lethal. Within 48 hours, the International Atomic Energy Agency, IAEA, confirmed the chemical signatures of Japanese-sourced uranium dioxide among the recovered debris. In Geneva, an emergency summit was called. Evidence presented by the United States and Ukraine pointed directly to the Shikoku Energy Refinery, where falsified export records masked over 2,400 kilograms of nuclear materials. The revelations stunned the world. Japan's energy sector lost over $220 billion in market value in a single week. Diplomatic ties with Washington froze overnight. For Moscow, the loss was catastrophic. Its covert nuclear corridor, 10 months in planning, was erased in 13 minutes. The destroyed cargo represented not only $1.7 billion in material losses, but the end of a strategic dream: the creation of a next-generation low-yield nuclear system capable of erasing Kiev in under 10 seconds. Meanwhile, Ukraine's daring strike reshaped modern warfare doctrine. The operation proved that a 300-man task force, equipped with 25 kamikaze drones and satellite intelligence, could dismantle an enemy program worth billions without losing a single soldier. The Pentagon quietly labeled it the cleanest decapitation strike in 21st century warfare. Yet the moral weight lingered. The air still carried the metallic scent of burned fuel and radiation. Journalists called it The convoy that ended an alliance. Veterans called it justice. In Kiev, as the fires faded, one message was repeated through encrypted channels. Courage is the final weapon. In 13 minutes, Ukraine had not just defended its skies, it had forced the world to look again at the cost of silence and the price of betrayal. By the time the fires on Highway E38 finally went out, the truth had already circled the planet. The images of molten trucks, blackened uranium containers, and twisted steel became symbols of a deeper betrayal, a moment when loyalty bent under the weight of profit. What began as a midnight transaction between two nations ended as a geopolitical earthquake. In the days that followed, Tokyo's embassies were surrounded by protests, Moscow fell into denial, and Kiev stood quietly triumphant. The $2.4 billion nuclear deal that had once been hidden beneath corporate ledgers now burned in full view of the world. And within that blaze, the myth of untouchable alliances disintegrated. For Ukraine, this was not just a military victory. It was a statement that no secret, no deception, no empire could hide behind fog or friendship. In 13 minutes, a small nation without nuclear weapons dismantled a supply chain that could have changed the balance of global power for decades. The courage of 300 men and the precision of 25 drones had done what entire armies could not: stop a future war before it began. But victory always carries a shadow. Radiation still lingers in the soil where the convoy died. Forest animals avoid the scorched trees. And somewhere, deep in a bunker, new plans are already being drawn. New convoys, new lies, new deals born from the same hunger for power. The world will remember October 12, 2025, not for its fire, but for its warning. That the next great war may not begin with armies crossing borders, but with a signature, a shipment, and the silence of those who knew. Ukraine broke that silence. And in doing so, it reminded the world that truth itself can be a weapon when someone dares to use it. If you found this analysis insightful and want to support more in-depth breakdowns like this, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell icon so you never miss the next unfolding conflict.